Time, though, for our press review. Dipti Kalaron joins me for a look through the newspapers. Hello to you, Dipti.
Hi, Rochelle.
Let's start with reactions to the release of Asia Bibi, the Pakistani Christian woman who was acquitted of blasphemy.
Well, Asia Bibi spent 8 years on death row before her conviction on blasphemy charges over a neighborly row was overturned by the Supreme Court last week. But since that decision, she's been languishing in a prison as the country has been gripped by protests, particularly from Islamic hardliners who are appealing her acquittal and also don't want her to be able to leave the country, until now at least, because she's been released from prison. The Daily Times saying that she and her family are still in the country, but that she's not been placed on a no-fly list that's preventing her from leaving Pakistan.
Oh, well, there's an incredible amount of focus on this in the international papers, all about her story.
That's right. Asia Bibi has really become a symbol as a woman, as a Christian, as a minority in the fight against extremism in Pakistan. This opinion writer for the Australian paper Herald Sun says Australia has a duty to help Bibi, and I quote, use the refugee program for exactly the kind of people it was meant to save. It's interesting that during these times where countries are shoring up their borders, wanting to keep refugees out, well, not just Australia, but France and Italy have also have both extended invitations to grant Bibi and her family asylum.
Right, well, it's hard to pick up a paper today also, Dipti, without looking at the US midterms.
Well, many people looking at the repercussions of that vote that's seen the Democrats seize control of or take back the House, and a record number of diversity candidates enter Congress, winning their seats. The French left-leaning paper Libération hails what it calls the female conquerors, really dedicating their front page to the wave of women who've now entered Congress and are preparing to confront Donald Trump on policy. The paper's also dominated by Donald Trump's extraordinary attack on journalists, in particular CNN journalist Jim Acosta at a press conference yesterday. Metro, the British paper, says Trump gets the hump. Speaking of the moment that they say Trump blew his lid, while La Razón, that's a Spanish paper, they say Trump reacted in anger, and they've actually published a series of screenshots during that outburst at the press conference.
All right, well, in the meantime, let's head to Algeria, where the defamation trial of 4 journalists kicks off today.
4 web journalists, to be specific, 2 from the investigative website called Asia Bibi. They've been in prison since last month on defamation and invasion of privacy charges. It's widely seen as a crackdown by authorities on freedom of speech, freedom of the press in particular. This 6 months ahead of national elections in Algeria. Now, we've been looking at the local papers there. TSA, that's a news website in Algeria, says there's a campaign of criminalizing web journalism in the country by essentially treating web reporters as cyber dissidents. In fact, one of the journalists imprisoned was imprisoned for trying to organize a protest around the candidacy for a 5th term of the authoritarian President Abdelaziz Bouteflika.
All right, well, on this note, this Thursday, the annual Victoria's Secret lingerie show takes place.
That's right. And we're not actually looking at the show today. We're looking at, I guess, stories around the show. First of all, former Angel, one of the highest paid supermodels, was Giselle Bundchen. Now, she's published an autobiography that talks about, in particular, her experiences as a Victoria's Secret angel. And she does admit that over time she felt less and less comfortable being photographed in skimpy underwear, which was one of the reasons why she left Victoria's Secret. Now, Robin Lawley, she's an Australian model. She's been really calling out for a boycott of the show, saying it promotes a monolithic idea of sexuality. In fact, earlier this week, she was part of a group of models who staged their own anti-angel show, if you like, aiming to celebrate women's bodies of all shapes and sizes, all the women in lingerie, but a much more diverse representation of women's bodies, a refreshing take on what many see as a tired image of flesh and bones skinny.
All right, the actress Emma Thompson has been given a British damehood.
And it wasn't so much her ceremony, Rochelle, but her choice of footwear that sparked a lot of chatter. She actually wore white vegan leather Stan Smith sneakers and a pantsuit to her damehood ceremony yesterday with Prince William. She's always one to break with convention. She was known this is a woman who took off her heels and walked barefoot at the Golden Globe ceremony in 2014. While flouting convention again, she also tried to steal a kiss from Prince William, rather unsuccessfully, it must be said.
All right, and finally, a heartwarming story of a reunion for a British soldier returning from Syria.
Oh, it's a great story, this one. Sean Ledlaw, he was a private contractor working in Syria in the city of Raqqa when he rescued a puppy called Barry. He had found in the rubble of an attack. The pair became separable. There she's very cute. He actually made her a bulletproof vest out of a harness. He even made her a teddy bear, spending a lot of time with them. He unfortunately had to leave her behind when his contract expired. But thanks to a charity called War Pause, 7 months afterwards, after he left Syria, the pair have been reunited. In fact, Barry had embarked on a very long journey. She went from Syria to Iraq to Jordan, finally to Paris, where she was reunited with her master, the soldier. Barry, Ledlaw says, saved his life and not the other way around.
Quite right there, Dibs. It's a very heartwarming story indeed. I'm glad they've been reunited. Thank you very much for our roundup of all of the papers. And of course, to our viewers, if you do want to see more of our press reviews, you can always go online. You know the address by now at france24.com. We're taking a short break here on Live from Paris. We'll be back on the other side with more international headlines for you. Stay tuned.